Standards identified in these activities have been adopted from the content standards of the national organization for each discipline. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. Students in an elementary mathematics classroom are participating in a graphing activity. The students have previously made graphs using different physical attributes and items of clothing. With the teacher, they discuss the data they collected, their method of representing the data, and ways of interpreting the data. The instructor integrates Mathematics Standard Number 5 for grades 3 through 5, which requires that students formulate questions that can be addressed with data and collect, organize, and display relevant data to answer them.
Is there any way that you could prove that most third graders, not just third graders at Riverside Elementary School, but most third graders would wear tennis shoes rather than buckle shoes or boots or anything like that? Could you prove it? Yes.
Because I can run faster in my shoes, that's why.
Okay, you can't. But how could you prove that about all third graders, say, in Grand Rapids? Could you do that? Is there any method that you could create where you could find out if the third graders at Aberdeen, more of them wore tennis shoes than the others? Could we do that? Yes.
You can have a guess.
We could have a guess, okay? And then we could have somebody who could possibly go over there and find that information out for us, okay? Could we do something, could we communicate in any other way with those people at Aberdeen? Yes?
You could have the students call their school.
You could, or you could have, like, we have something that's available to now. We have not used it a whole lot, but we have something available to us where we could get in contact with every third grade class in Grand Rapids, and we could have their class survey and graph and see what kinds of shoes they wore most of the time. What could we do? Yes?
Use a computer.
You could use a computer. Okay, we could email, couldn't we? Or we could write a letter, couldn't we? We could still write letters.
The teacher uses 2 boxes of colored rocks to model ways to predict, count, sort, and graph information. To review graphing concepts they have already covered, the students and the teacher count and sort the rocks in both boxes by color, then graph the information. This learning activity integrates Mathematics Standard Number 5, which refers to data analysis, statistics, and probability. The students develop and evaluate inferences and predictions that are based on data, and they apply basic concepts of probability. The activity also integrates Mathematics Standard Number 6 for grades 3 through 5 by engaging the students in problem solving.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pinks.
5 pink.
5 pinks. That one was the same. Purples?
Purple.
4. And green blackies?
3.
3. Okay. And then we had a different color. We'll just stick that one over here. We did have one group that was the same. The pinks were the same. But we cannot, unless we use maybe more boxes, then we could use that information and we could say, or we could make some kind of prediction about the rest of them. So we have to have more of these, obviously, to make any kind of real guess as to what's going to happen.
The teacher integrates Mathematics Standard Number 5 for grades 3 through 5 by designing an activity that develops the students' knowledge of data analysis, statistics, and probability. The students develop and evaluate predictions that are based on data. Each student is given a bag of M&Ms and a graph sheet. First, the students have to predict how many M&Ms of each color they will find in their bags. Then they sort the M&Ms by color and count them, recording their data on the graph sheet. After they have recorded their own data, the students are assigned partners. Based on the information they have collected, the students predict how many M&Ms of each color would be in 2 bags of M&Ms. Then the pairs of students combine their numbers and interpret their data.
Time-wise, we're looking good. Let's get those numbers in. Now, I don't want you to look at your partner's numbers. Do not look at your partner's numbers, but put an estimate for the two of you and see how many reds you think the two of you are going to have, how many greens you think the two of you are going to have, how many blues, etc., etc. Don't look at theirs yet, though. Just guess.
Each pair of students has to formulate a generalization about the contents of a bag of M&Ms. The students share their conclusions with their classmates. This activity integrates Mathematics Standard Number 8 for grades 3 through 5, which requires that students organize and consolidate their mathematical thinking through communication. The teacher also integrates English Language Arts Standard Number 5. This standard requires that students employ a wide range of strategies as they write and use different writing process elements appropriately to communicate with different audiences for a variety of purposes.
The lines at the bottom are for you and your partner to write a sentence. And the sentence that you write, you don't need to put those back right now. The sentence that you write will tell. If you think throughout the entire country, if the results of your two packets would be about the same. For instance, if you were in Missouri, our favorite state, okay? And if there were people who had 2 packets of M&Ms, excuse me, Reuben, had 2 packets of M&Ms, would the majority of these 2 packets of M&Ms have about 23 in them? Or would they have more? Would the majority of them only have about 4 blue in a pack of 2?
The students discuss the best way to display their data, then they work in pairs in the computer lab. They use their worksheets to create a spreadsheet and a graph of their data. This graphing activity integrates Mathematics Standard Number 10, which requires that students create and use representations to organize, record, and communicate mathematical ideas. As the students create their spreadsheets and graphs, they demonstrate Technology Performance Indicator Number 8, which requires that students use technology resources for problem solving, self-directed learning, and extended learning activities.
We need a pie graph to see if it looks better.
And does it show the information better? Okay.